Hey, what is going on, folks? This is CJ here, and I'm here to talk about a new movie from Will Smith. It's called Emancipation, directed by Antoine Fuqua. Um, I'll go ahead and say it right off the top. This movie is good, um, but I think there's something else that comes with that needs to be addressed more than anything else. Us as Black folks, we have a bit of a contentious history, so to speak, when it comes to movies like this, slave movies and such. And at least for me, speaking for myself, I've always pushed back on people that sit there and say, "Oh man, all we get is slave movies. We never get anything else." And if you watch a lot of movies like I do, it's not true. We get a wide variety of movies, but I will say, like, it's always when it gets down to the award season stuff, films like this come up and it kind of creates this sort of like, should I support it? I don't really like it and all that stuff. And it's understandable too, because I think the reality when we have movies based off of, slavery times, especially, it's that thing of, do you really want to see the visuals of of this era and stuff? And it's understandable because who wants to sit there and watch that kind of stuff? And it's great. And then it kind of goes into the conversation of, well, is it really important for these movies to happen, and do we really need this thing, and yada 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 and stuff. And again, speaking for myself, I think these movies are important with respect to knowing your history. I think there are some people that really don't have much in the way of knowledge of things in history, and movies do provide a sort of way of addressing those, the historic things that happens. And granted, you have to kind of deal with certain narrative choices that obviously have to skew towards trying to get the audience's attention and such. So in the case of Emancipation, at least, I kind of went into it on an announcement like, I don't know if I want to see this. And I think the reason why this movie works is it works on a couple levels. One, like I said, the acting is great. Will Smith, Ben Foster, they're phenomenal in their kind of dichotomy back and forth with their respective characters. Ben Foster plays the guy that runs this encampment that Will Smith's character, who is Peter, who is based off of, well, is it Gordon? Peter? I'm trying to think if it's Gordon. Hold on for 1 second. I think I want to say it's Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. And and Gordon is based off of a real life picture of Whip Peter, which is this. This picture was used as a way of showing the horrors of slavery, and this is a very famous photo that kind of kickstarted people's knowledge of slavery and the horrors of it and such. Um, and I think that's one of those things that goes back to what I just said a minute ago on people's kind of trepidations on these films. But I think one of the choices that Antoine Fuqua does with this film that I think lessens the blow of kind of the surrealness of the slave narratives is this movie is filmed in black and white and sepia tone colors. There's sepia tone colors. So a lot of the stuff that if this movie was in full blown color, we would be seeing all the brutality and all that stuff. And the brutality of of slavery is still there, but it being filmed in black and white, and like I said, black, white, and sepia tone colors, it lessens the viciousness of it in a way. Um, to where you can just watch the movie and you still get the emphasis of how slavery is fucking horrible, but pardon language, but it's there, but you can still kind of still watch it and take it. Um, do I feel this is a movie that you have to rush out to the theaters and go see? I'm gonna say no. I know this is getting kind of a limited release, anyways. I would wait for it to hit Apple TV, and then you can just kind of watch it from there, because this definitely doesn't lend itself to like, I gotta watch this multiple times kind of thing. But it's definitely something that you watch it one time, you get what you get out of it, and then you just kind of move on, but still kind of take in what you see. But besides the visuals of it and stuff, the acting is phenomenal. I would say off rip, Will Smith's Gordon, he has a Haitian accent. Now, unlike Concussion, where Will Smith's accent in that movie was very distracting from what the movie was trying to really, bring across on its emphasis on concussions and medical and all that stuff in NFL, yada yada yada. In this film, Will Smith's character of Gordon having him doing this Haitian accent because his character isn't talking consistently from beginning to end, and he has moments where he is talking. It's not distracting when he talks. He gets his point across, and then boom, keeps it going. We go next scene and such. And I think more than anything, past Will voicing this character, he does a really good job of kind of giving you the visual cues and how you can kind of see the wheels turning in his head in terms of how he's thinking and he's going through it. Because more than anything else, seeing like Gordon go from this guy who gets torn from his family and has to work at this, work camp, and ends up escaping so he can be free, and meet up with the Union Army down in Baton Rouge, and he has to go through over 40 miles of swampland to get to Baton Rouge for his freedom. It's definitely an interesting watch, seeing what he has to do in order to survive and outsmart Ben Foster and the rest of the rest of the guys that are trying to hunt him down and such. And it's definitely a interesting ride seeing that. Um, I think more than anything else, though, past just the visuals, the cinematography, the acting, and all that stuff, it still boils down to, again, should you watch it? Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. Even though I say the movie is good, there's still that asterisk of I wouldn't rush out to theaters to go see it, but I would definitely check it out. So I guess overall, if I had to really give this movie a rating, I give it a solid 7 out of 10. I think it's good. It's one of those situations where the movie falls into this thing at times where if you've seen one slave, I'm not gonna say if you've seen one slave movie, you've seen it all, but it has moments of certain things that you've seen in one slavery type film, and then you see it in this film, and it's like, all right, I've seen this narrative before. But like I said, at the top of this, it is kind of one of those films where you have to ask yourself, how many of these movies can we possibly get every year that does a variation of something that we know from history? And granted, there's probably going to be a lot of people that do watch this that, you know, gain some new information. I think that's kind of like the weird aspect of these type of films because so much of history has people not knowing the details of it. One of the parts of this film is that we get knowledge that Lincoln freed the slaves and stuff, and we forget that in Lincoln freeing the slaves, not every slave was free because down south they were like, yeah, bump, f Lincoln, we're still going to keep the slavery thing going, and it wasn't until, like I said, Juneteenth holiday, June 19th, that slaves were finally free. But those are things that a lot of people don't know because they just think Lincoln freed the slaves on, I think it was January 1st, I believe, 1865. Was it on? Yeah, somewhere January 1st. But like they think because he said he freed the slaves, that was it. That's into slavery. And then this movie really emphasizes that no, 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 that's not true. Like it took a while before slaves were actually free in a way. So I think that's the other kind of aspect of this film is that as much as we as millennials, I would say, know this, and even some of older black folks, Gen X and, you know, boomers, so to speak, uh, know about that. You have the younger generation that probably doesn't know that because they just assume, oh, Lincoln free the slaves and that's it. And I think this movie does a pretty good job of emphasizing the intricacies of slavery and how much slaves really what they knew and what they didn't know. and what they could do with that knowledge and such. So, and then like I said, even for me, there were certain parts of this movies I didn't know, and I thought it was very informative on that end. So I think, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I'm putting an asterisk next to that because I think it's one of those times where it's hard for me to really sit there and recommend that you go to the theaters to go see it if you can. I will wait till it hits, I think it's going to be on Apple TV. So I will wait till it hits Apple TV before seeing it and just enjoy it in the comfort of your own home and just, maybe use this as a way of, looking more into deep into the history of it and stuff, which I think for the most part, that's how you should intake these films. You just take it as a history lesson. If you want to dive deep into knowing about more of it, cool. If you don't, well, hey, you watched the movie and that's that and such. But yeah, overall, 7 out of 10. Check it out when it comes out on Apple TV. And yeah, catch you guys later. Peace.